So you want to go from feeling like this to this. No problem. Here is how you can stop feeling tired all the time. If you want to feel energized and not being tired all the time, there are 3 major things we need to fix. And these are sleep, diet, and exercise. However, you might want some concrete things that you can start doing that will give you energy instead of just improving sleep, diet, and exercise. And that's exactly why I will give you 5 tips that you can start doing to feel more energized. However, if we don't improve the fundamentals, those are most likely not going to work. At least not that well. Okay, let's get into the first one, which is sleep. Now, lack of sleep is actually directly linked to having more stress, which can lead to an unhealthy heart, and in worst cases, it can lead to cancer. And not sleeping enough is also proven to weaken your memory, to weaken your body reparation, and it can actually increase depression. So with those repercussions in mind, let's get into what you can do. Now, the first thing you can do is actually fixing the temperature in your room. Now, I didn't know this before, but your body actually needs to drop 1 degree before it can fall asleep. And so experts actually recommend your room temperature to be around 65 degrees Fahrenheit or 18 degrees Celsius before you go to bed. Now, the second thing we can start doing is actually keeping it dark in our room. Now, the reason for this is that our brain needs a hormone called melatonin to fall asleep. And that's produced when it's dark around us. Not only this, but there's something called the circadian rhythm. And what that is basically how our body responds to brightness and darkness. And so what we need to do is to stay away from our screens, and we need to dim down lights as much as possible. Now, you should actually turn off your devices around 30 minutes before you go to bed, and that's because they emit something called blue lights, and that's actually very harmful when it comes to sleep because it really wakes your body up. Now, this goes hand in hand with the next one, which is actually having a bedtime schedule. So your body actually has an inner clock that works best under regularity. What this means is that your body gets used to things, and so your body gets used to when you're going to bed and when you're waking up. So your body kind of automatically wakes you up. And so something that I've started doing is actually having an alarm for when I need to go to bed, not only an alarm to wake me up. Okay, awesome, we're now done with sleep, and I think it's important for you to go and try these things. But the same with this and the other things I'm going to talk about, it's very important that you do it for a longer period of time so that your body can get used to it. With that said, I think we can start with the next one, which is exercise. Now, research has actually found that not training enough can actually lead to a shorter life. It can lead to negative mental health and mood. It can make it harder for you to think and learn. It can give you worse sleep, and it can actually increase depression. And so let's get into what you can do to exercise more easily. Okay, so the first thing that you can start doing is just scheduling your training. Now, when you're scheduling your training, it becomes way easier for you to follow it up. You get into this mindset of training because you're thinking about it more. You're focusing on training. You have to think about, when am I going to train? And because you spend so much time thinking and planning what you're going to do and when you're going to do it, then you get into the mentality of, I am a person who trains, and then it can become even easier for you to train. Now, this actually goes hand in hand with the next thing, which is the ignition cost of training. Now, the ignition cost basically just means that the act of planning, getting ready, going outside, traveling to the gym, is actually harder than the workout itself, than being at the gym itself. And so I have a little trick for you that can actually make it a lot more easier, and that is the 2-minute rule. Now, the 2-minute rule is basically that you just focus on the 2 first minutes of whatever you want to do. Now, let's say, for example, that you want to go to the gym. If you were to implement the 2-minute rule, that would mean that you, for example, get ready and you go outside, and then that's it. Then you're done. What most likely is going to happen is that you'll just go through with it. You'll just go to the gym because you're already ready. You're already outside. It's going to be harder for you to go back inside because you've already spent that time to get ready. Okay, so let's get on with the last one, which is the diet. Now, it's actually found that not eating healthy food can lead to a bad heart. It can increase the risk of cancer. It can give you depression and negative moods. It can give you a worse brain function and worse memory. And so what can we do with this? Well, I want to start with calories. Now, I'm not going to tell you to learn how to count your calories, but I would recommend you to learn how to do it. But what I want to say is that 80% of fitness actually happens in the kitchen. And you might be like, what? But it's true. Because what most people think is that you go to the gym and that's how you get a six-pack. However, it doesn't work like that, because if your diet is poor, then you're not going to be able to see that six-pack through all the fat. This is because we usually underestimate the calories we eat and we overestimate the calories we burn. And I truly believe that just being aware of this will help you. And so I just want to encourage you to think about that the next time you eat. Now, the next thing is actually that it's different for everyone. And the reason for this is because we have different body types. If you're a skinny person, you need a different type of diet. You need a diet which can help you gain weight, but it's also healthy for you. So you might need to eat more fat. But if you're a person who's bigger, then you might need to eat another diet than the person who's very thin. And in the same way, if you want to maintain your weight, you also need to have a specific diet for that. So just research your body type and figure out what kind of diet should work best for you. If you can implement some of these tips, then you'll be way on your way to feel so much more happy and energized throughout your day. And you'll not feel tired all the time. Now, let's get on to the bonus you've been waiting for. Here are the 5 things that I do to feel so much more energized. Let's get on to the first one, which is cold showers. Now, I realize that these are very uncomfortable, but they're seriously important and it will seriously help you. Because when you take a cold showers, it increases your circulation. And what does that mean? Well, basically, when the cold water hits your skin, your body is cooling off. And so what happens is that your heart starts to pump more blood. And this is cardiovascular training that helps your blood circulation and strengthens your heart. And obviously, this is super good for you. I really find the cold shower to really make me so much more energized and happy throughout the day. And it really makes me feel calm and ready to tackle the tasks that I am going to tackle throughout the day. And this is the reason why I can't seem to stop taking cold showers. Okay, so on to the second one. You're probably not going to be happy about this, but it's actually staying away from caffeine. Now, researchers have found that people who drink coffee are usually dependent on coffee to feel energized. And I didn't want to become dependent on coffee to the point where I have to have it to be able to have energy throughout the day. And the research even states that people who don't drink coffee has more energy in general than the people who are dependent on coffee. And so that's why I decided to try to stay away from caffeine as much as possible. But the weird thing is that I'm actually feeling so much more happy and energized. And so that's why I'm choosing to try to stay away from caffeine as much as possible. Now let's get on to the third thing, which is meditation. Now, I personally found that meditation works as a very good replacement for caffeine. And every time that I meditate, I feel so much more energized and calm throughout my days. I found that the days where I meditate are the best days because it helps me to prepare for the day. It helps me prepare for the challenges and tasks that I'm going to face. Now, I want you to know that there are so many ways that you can meditate, and I would recommend you to just go on YouTube, search on meditation, and try out different ones because it's really gonna help you. Now, the fourth tip is vitamin D. It's recommended to be outside 20 minutes every single day in sunlight to get vitamin D. And if you're not in a place where it's a lot of sun, or for me when it's winter in Norway, I usually take vitamin D supplements, and that really helps. And I would really recommend you to just think about the vitamin D intake that you currently have, because it has seriously helped me get a lot more energy throughout the day, and it will probably help you too. Okay, so let's get on to the last one, which is something that you probably haven't heard before, but once I realized this, it seriously helped me. And that is removing distractions. Now, you might wonder, how does removing distractions help me get energy? And the reason for this is when you're distracted, or at least when I'm distracted, I find that I'm procrastinating or I'm falling into a rabbit hole. And that usually ends up with me losing motivation. And motivation is a great gateway to get energy. But when you have a loss of motivation, you usually get a loss of energy. By you being distracted, you're losing that motivation, that energy to do the things that you were supposed to do. Let's say, for example, you're chilling and watching Netflix instead of going to the gym. You're losing out on a very big potential way of getting energy. And so I found that when I have a clear picture of how I want my day to look like, and I'm able to remove those distractions, and I'm able to get my work done and reach my goals, that just makes me feel so much more happy and energized. And so just removing distractions has really helped me, and I really do feel a lot more energized. However, it might be more mental, but I would really recommend you to try it out because it's really helped me, and maybe it will help you too. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. Please comment down below your thoughts on this and how I can improve and what you would like to see in the next video. I'll see you again in the next one.